Assalamualaikum and good day guys. We continue on our next chapter in embedded system, which is interrupt. Learning outcome. First, understand the basic interrupt. And the second one, understand the function of hardware and software interrupts. As we know, in one system, we have a main and sub program or sub process. How do the sub process be triggered during the main process is running? So this condition or this is happen, we will call it as the interrupt. So to call this interrupt, we have two type of method, which is we have pulling method, which the microcontroller continuously monitor the state of the device, which is this pulling method monitor the state of the device. When the state of the device meet the condition, the microcontroller perform the service and then return to monitor the state again, which means this method will depend on the state and monitor the state, and it will continue monitor the state again and again after the sub process is finished or done. And how about the disadvantages? Okay. The disadvantages of this method is wasteful of processing resources, undischargeable change of device state, and less efficient code, which is this code is longer in main loop. For example, in this slide you have a circuit. We have one output LED and one input switch button. Okay. Press switch S1 5 times to enable LED, and press again switch S1 5 times to disable LED, which means you only press 5 times switch button to light up the LED, and continue 5 times switch button is pressed to light off the LED. This is the program of the circuit. Okay. The LED is the output of 13, which is pin 13 as LED output, and the switch button is allocated at pin 2 as an input. So where is the pulling is placed or been right? Okay. This is the pulling method. Okay. And just now, the pulling method just mentioned about monitoring the state. So we can see this is the state of the switch button. Okay, so 5 times switch button is pressed, the LED will light up, and another 5 times switch button is pressed to light off the LED. And the second method is interrupt method. Whenever any device needs a service, is notified the microcontroller by sending an interrupt signal, which is to interfere the main program. So the interrupt is the signal sent to the processor to mark the event that require immediate attention. For example, our laptop is running, which is the OS is running. This is the main process right during that time, and then we would like to we would like to open any apps, for example PowerPoint apps or Arduino apps. So that one is the interrupt during that time. Okay. So interrupt is asking the processor to stop to perform the current program and to make time to execute a special code. As I mentioned before, the apps is the special code for another program that running by processor, which is the main program is OS. Okay. Upon receiving the signal, the microcontroller gets out the infinite loops and serve the device which is associated with the interrupt event. This table shows the type of Arduino board to the digital pin usable for interrupt. Mostly or currently, normally, student use Arduino Uno. So in Arduino Uno, pin number 2 and 3 is a special reserved for the interrupt. So different type of Arduino will have a different number or different digital pin for the interrupt. Interrupt sources. The interrupt sources come from external hardware devices sending interrupt to microcontroller in order to receive the treatment. The processor itself also can send an interrupt as a result of executing the code to report the failure in the process. In the multiprocessor system, processor can send interrupt to each other as communication between them. For example, the division of the work between them. We can see we have, for example, we have a laptop. The laptop is the main processor, and we attach keyboard and mouse. That is the external hardware device that can be executed or sending interrupt to the computer for running special treatment, which is of special code. Okay, there are two types of interrupt, which is software interrupts and hardware interrupts. For the software interrupts, it comes from a program that runs by the processor and requests the processor to stop running the program, go to make an interrupt, and then to return to continue to execute the program. For example, function. When there is a function call, the processor stops the execution of the program, jump to the place in memory that reserved for a function. For the main function running, until have a call function, it will jump to another function, and jump to the call function definition to run the program there or the function there or any coding or programming there, and after done at the sub program for the function call, it will return to the main program. Execute the function and only the returns back to the program and continue to execute. For the hardware interrupt, signal are sent the microcontroller by hardware device as a third party. As I mentioned before, if we attach a mouse or a keyboard to a laptop or a computer, a mouse or a keyboard is declared as a third party devices. So this is a hardware interrupt. Okay. Another example, the processor is in the middle of a calculation and we do not want to write into memory until the micro did not finish the calculation. In this situation, we will block the write to the memory interrupt. We will unblock the interrupt only after the processor finish the calculation, thus preventing him to write into the memory as long as it is in the middle of the action. This is the example for the hardware interrupt. The same example as a polling interrupt, one LED and one button. Press S button 5 times, enable LED, light on LED, and the same time 5 times button is pressed to disable LED. So the function is here to identify and proceed the interrupt, which is what counter interrupt is the function call for the interrupt. But before that, we have to declare or use attach interrupt digital pin to interrupt, which is pin 2, and then counter increment and the mode of signal, which is rising. So the LED will light on after 5 times button press. For the attach interrupt, as we stated in the program before, in this part, okay, we have attach interrupt library for the interrupt pin 2 and pin 3. So we have to declare which pin that we attach the interrupt. So for example here, pin 2 is declared as a attached hardware interrupt, and then counter increment is referred to ISR, internal interrupt service routine, which is function that will be called when interrupt is triggered. For counter increment, which is counter increment is the value is increased from before, keep increasing. So and the last one is for the mode change here. Okay, that's mean the change is from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. Any changes for increment or decrement. For the rising is for 0 to 1. That's we call rising. Okay, and for the falling from 1 to 0. Okay, so for the changes is either one, is we call this changes. So this attach interrupt will make it easy to declare or to identify that the hardware is interrupt purpose. Okay, for example, we have one LED blink. Okay, this is for software interrupt. Okay, LED blink. It will blink every 1.5 seconds on a for 1.5 seconds, off for 1.5 seconds, with continuous, which is keep blinking for the same duration. Okay, so we can see here where is the program that control the blinking without using the hardware. That's why we call it software control. So we include that the library of timer1.h. This is using internet timer to control software interrupt. So in a voice setup, interrupt to be activate every 1.5 second. 1.5 second equal to 1.5 times 10 power of 6 millisecond. And then the ISR function that we call when interrupt is triggered. So blink LED. This blink LED is called the function at void LED. So the status LED, it will continuously on and off, continuously blinking. Okay. So this is the difference between hardware control and software control. For the software control, it will be used, or the advantage is to minimize the number of hardware used in the circuit. Okay. Make sure library timer1 is installed in Arduino IDE to use software interrupt. Okay, which is you can check the timer1 library in the sketch, include library, manage library, and timer1 library. If in your IDE doesn't have this type of timer1 library, you can find it in open source, and you download, you just attach in the library of IDE. So that's all for this session, which is interrupt. I hope this session, you can understand a few bit about interrupt from the previous intro in input and output pins. Thank you very much. See you in next session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.